Um, okay, so the next question is diseases of salivary glands. Neoplasms. We deal with the non-neoplastic diseases of salivary glands in the other question. Here we talk about mediator tumors. Let's begin. So when you speak about this question, it's good to start with some basic facts of salivary gland tumors. Before starting with the classification. So what are the facts? Salivary gland tumors are quite rare, with a low metastatic potential. They're predominantly benign and predominantly in the parotid gland. If they are in the submandibular or the sublingual gland, they tend to have higher malignancy compared to the tumor being in the parotid, for example. And the tumors are usually painless and have unilateral swellings. And they may have a mass effect on facial nerve or the salivary duct and may cause palsy, facial nerve palsy. The reason I'm talking about the tumor being painless and unilateral swelling is because of that it could help you rule out a possible differential diagnosis in when you compare infections, for example, mumps. Right. So like always, we divide it into benign and malignant. The benign salivary gland tumors are number one, the most common one, pleomorphic adenoma. Second, Wharton tumor, and the third, you can mention monomorphic adenomas. But these two are like very important to be mentioned. First of all, you need to mention about mucoepidermoid carcinoma, number one, malignant salivary gland tumor. Second, you need to mention about adenoid cystic carcinoma, then acidic cell carcinoma. These three are very important. Then you could also mention about polymorphous adenocarcinoma. In the literature, you will see some other tumors of the salivary glands. I think in Robbins you have other names as well, but you do not need to name all of them as long as you name these seven. Okay, so don't break your head over the ones in the Robbins so much. As long as you mention these. The most common salivary gland tumor is the pleomorphic adenoma. I think you already know, and it's a mixed tumor. You need to know this very well. Like it's a fact we get. Okay. So next, let's begin with the benign ones with their details. Like I mentioned, pleomorphic adenoma being the most common one, and it's always advisable for you to start your answer with the most common pathology. So here we start with the pleomorphic adenoma. It is a benign mixed tumor. Mixed means it contains epithelial, ductal cells, myxoid, and cartilage. Um, Morphology will be a movable encapsulated mass, gray white jelly-like appearance. Etiology unknown, maybe irradiation. Treatment prognosis, progression. If you resect it, it will recur. Like there's high chance it will recur. So resected by big margin. And it very rarely may become malignant. And if it becomes malignant, it's known as carcinoma ex pleomorphic adenoma. So that is one of the complications that it transforms into malignancy, but it's a very rare complication. What's a more important complication is the compression of the facial nerve, resulting in the palsy, facial nerve palsy. Okay. Second benign tumor would be the Wharton tumor. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's easy for you to remember this name, papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum. At least I wasn't able to remember the name, but if you remember it, it gives away all of the details about this tumor in its own name. So if you remember it, you're like perfect. You will know everything about the tumor with the name itself. But even if you mention the name Wharton's tumor, examiner will understand, but they will want to hear what it consists of. Yeah. So it's a slow growing papillary finger like sort of like lymphadenoma. So what does it contain? It contains a double layer of epithelium with which extends into a dilated duct, like you can see here. A double layer of papillary epithelium, finger-like projection, which extends into a dilated duct full of fluid, and it has rich stroma consisting of lymphocytes, WBCs, which are your tumor is basically not this. It's actually the lymphocytes are a reaction to the benign proliferation of the epithelium, the ductal epithelium. Yeah. is very commonly smoking. It looks gray encapsulated cystic mass on with naked eye. Like I said, if you remember the name, you sort of remember everything about the tumor. The name explains cyst adenoma. The ducts will dilate due to fluid accumulation, like you can see here. Papillary, the ductal epithelium fold inwards to form finger-like projections, like here. So basically, if you remember this picture, you're also the tumor, yeah. Lymphomatosum. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but whatever. The germinal centers form the stroma or the basement membrane of the papilla, like you can see here, okay? And do not confuse it with lymphoma. It is not a It's not lymphoma, it's just a reaction to this papillary proliferation. Yeah. So this is about Warthin's tumor. Next, you mentioned one line about monomorphic adenomas. It's a solid, hard, benign salivary gland tumor. Monomorphic means composed of a single cell type. In contrast with pleomorphic, which we saw in this slide, or polymorphic, other name. So if it's a single cell type, it could be oncocytoma, it could be basal cell adenoma, it could be ductal papilloma, whatever you have present basically in your salivary gland, it could become like a benign proliferation and a benign tumor out of it, and resulting in monomorphic adenomas. You don't need to know so much about this, just mention that it exists and what could be the types of it when you talk about monomorphic. Talk about the malignant tumors of the salivary glands. First of all, you need to speak about mucoepidermoid carcinoma, composed of mixture of squamous and mucus secreting cells. I think you can get it from your name itself. Its microscopy is very important. I'll show you its picture in the next slide, but for now, white gray on cross section. It lacks capsule mixture of squamous and mucus secreting cells, hence mucus filled cyst. You need to know all of this. Yeah, that's why I put it in red. Then you speak about adenoid cystic carcinoma, malignant tumor of epithelial cells of ducts and epithelial cells. And it may often form resistant metastasis via perineural spread. Then you can talk about actinic cell carcinoma, rare, and polymorphous adenocarcinoma. You don't need to know so much about all of this, just at least name these two. Yeah, so you maybe in actinic cell carcinoma, you could say it's made up of cells resembling normal serous acinar cells of salivary glands. Actinic acinar cells of salivary glands, mostly parotid. Yeah, like that. Then polymorph color from glands because it's adeno in the name itself. Yeah. But again, these two are rare. These two are more common, so you need to talk about these two more. Yeah. Right. This is the image of the mucoepidermoid carcinoma, like I mentioned, white gray on cross section, like capsule. Yeah, white gray on cross section, no capsule. And the fact that it lacks capsule will differentiate it from a benign tumor, for example. Yeah, and mucus filled cysts, like you can see here. So this is how mucoepidermoid carcinoma looks like. White gray with cyst, mucus filled cyst. And that was the end of the question for the salivary glands neoplasms. I hope you understood everything. If you have any question, you can DM me on Instagram, for example. Thank you.